So the bases are loaded with one out here in the bottom of the first. Following back-to-back one-out walks allowed by Collier following the leadoff single in the inning by Brinker. Here's the first pitch to Max Cloutier, and it's taken for a called strike. Cloutier, the sophomore second baseman for the Saints, who went 1 for 4 in game 1 of this doubleheader. Game 2 of the 3-game set. Ithaca already has taken this series 2-0. As the 0-1 pitch out of the hand of Collier in there for a called strike on the inside corner. And an 0-2 count now. Looking to get out of a jam with the corners pinched in and the middle infield pitch towards the second base bag. Here comes the 0-2. Fastball upstairs. Count goes 1-2 on Cloutier, who's hitting .359 on the season with 7 RBIs and 2 homers for St. Lawrence, who's 6-9 overall, 1-4 in conference play. As the 1-2 pitch is rope foul down the right field line and out of play beyond the St. Lawrence dugout on the first base side.
And that's going to a little debate over who's going to get the foul ball. I think a spectator may have grabbed it.
St. Lawrence's sole conference win coming to Rochester in the third game of that series is the 1-2 breaking ball low and away to Cloutier. And the count goes 2-2. He fights back to even it up. As Collier gives the nod, comes set. Bases juiced, 1 out. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Cloutier. Fastball just upstairs, and this will be a big payoff pitch coming. With Federico off of third, Connor off of second, Gannon off of first. Bases loaded, 1 out. As the payoff pitch to Cloutier. It's grounded left side of the infield. Rothstein, the shortstop, on to second for 1. On to first, not in time as the throw is going to go up the line and all the way to the dugout. Scoring our 2 runs. Federico taps on home plate on the ground ball on the fielder's choice. Connor comes home on the error, and the deficit is cut to 5-2. It'll be a throwing error on Rothstein. An Ithaca team that we've talked about it, particularly in game 1 of this doubleheader, that the Bombers have struggled in the error category. They've struggled defensively. So a couple of runs come across on the error. One of them, only one of them, is a charged earned run into the ledger of Collier as Verastro digs in, takes a called strike. As Federico and Connor both score, Gannon out at second, and Cloutier replaces him after the error, so a runner on second and 2 outs. Here's the 0-1, and a breaking ball low and away. Sean Desjardins in the right-handed batter's box. The third baseman and the junior for St. Lawrence. He made a few strong plays at third base in game 1 as he rolls this one on the left side of the infield. It's the third baseman, Brody, charging, throws on to first just in time as Lobsher scoops that one out of the grass for out number 3. Side retired, but not before 2 runs come across on 1 hit for St. Lawrence and 1 error in the bottom of the first. It's 5-2. Ithaca leads as we head to the top of the second on Bomber Sports. On to the second inning, 5-2 Bombers lead as Ethan Rothstein leads it off for Ithaca. The 9-hitter steps up here in the top of the second. 5 runs for Ithaca in the first, 2 for St. Lawrence. Gives us the score is Brendan O'Neill. The lefty kicks and fires. First pitch to the right-handed hitting. Rothstein is roped out to deep right field, ranging back towards the foul pole, and diving forward is the right fielder Verastro. He can't get it, rolls into the corner. Wide turnaround second for Ethan Rothstein. He'll pull up there with a leadoff double down the right field line here in the top of the second. It's the third hit for Ithaca already in this ball game after the 3-run homer for Colin Feeney in the first and the 2 RBI single off the bat of Ryan Lobsher. And the offense is full steam ahead as Ethan McDonough digs in from the right side. Back to the top of the order for Ithaca. McDonough struck out looking his first time to the plate. Rothstein with a healthy lead off of first base is O'Neill's first pitch. Showing bunt is Rothstein. He pulls back on the breaking ball low and out as the count goes 1-0. McDonough went 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run scored in game 1 of this doubleheader as the 1-0 a fastball upstairs in a game that the Bombers took by a 7-3 score thanks to dominant pitching from Colin Lehner. As the 2-0 to McDonough is a breaking ball roped right back up the middle for a base hit. Wave around third for Rothstein. Here comes the relay, and it is not in time. Standing up at home plate is Ethan Rothstein on the RBI base hit for Ethan McDonough. 6-2, Bombers lead here in the top of the second. Back-to-back hits to start it off here in the second. For McDonough, that's his 7th RBI of the season. As the first pitch to Louis Fabo, the 2-hitter, is rolled left side of the infield. Dive from the third baseman is Jardins. To his left, can't make the play. It'll trickle into shallow left field for a base hit. Jardins went full extension to his left, trying to lay out for that ball on the infield as it took a tough hop on him. Gets the jersey dirty, can't make the play. And make it 3 straight hits for Ithaca to start it off here in the second. That'll bring up Matt Curtis with Fabo off of first and McDonough off of second. Ithaca already with a 6-2 lead as the southpaw O'Neill kicks and fires. First pitch breaking ball low. And the count goes 1-0. Curtis grounded into a fielder's choice. His first time to the plate last inning after he went 2 for 5 in game 1 of this doubleheader with an RBI. Here's the 1-0. Breaking ball up and out. And Curtis, a strong start to this season. Hitting .364 over 15 games played, 14 games started for Ithaca, entering today with the team lead in RBIs. That's 20. As the southpaw O'Neill kicks and delivers 2-0. This one's laced in a left field down for a base hit. Getting the wave around third is McDonough. Here's the relay, and it's cut off. It's an RBI single for Matt Curtis, his 21st RBI of the season. The team lead, McDonough scores, and a 7-2 lead for Ithaca. The hit party continues. And that will provoke a mound visit for Eamon Andre, the assistant coach of the Saints, taking a slow walk out to the rubber to meet with the lefty O'Neill. Brings the entirety of the infield with him. And the catcher, Dinellen, to the mound. As it'll be the cleanup batter, Ethan Didabo. Bombers now with 6 hits, 4 of which have come consecutively to lead it off in the second. Andre sends the infield back to their positions. A second of one-on-one conversation with O'Neill before Andre will take the stroll back into the first base dugout. And Didabo will step up to the plate with Curtis off of first and Fabo off of second. A 7-2 lead here for Ithaca in the top of the second inning with Didabo in from the left side. Here comes the first pitch in the lefty-lefty matchup. It's a fastball in there for a called strike. Grooves it into the bottom of the strike zone, and the count goes 0-1. Here it is. Breaking ball called a strike on the inside corner. Count goes 0-2 now on Didabo, who's hitting .300 to start off the season. A strong start to the year, earning the starts in the first 3 games of conference play for Ithaca as the breaking ball inside just misses the back leg and makes it 1-2. There was a big fight for who was going to get the majority of catching reps this season, with 2 transfers in addition to the sophomore Didabo. As the 1-2 pitch, breaking ball sharply grounded to the second baseman Cloutier on a second for 1, and that's all they'll get. Curtis out on the fielder's choice. Good speed for Didabo hustling down the line. And that is a much-needed out number 1 on the ground ball to second, induced by O'Neal. Puts runners on the corners and 1 out for Colin Shishatti. Shishatti walked in, came around to score on the Feeney homer in the first, and the first pitch is swung on and missed out of the hand of O'Neal. Didabo with a healthy lead off of first. Fabo creeping off of third. As O'Neal comes home 0-1, fastball away. Back pick attempt at second base where Curtis was well off the bag. And he's back in safely with a head-first dive. Fabo was creeping off the third base bag. Didn't try to test the arm of the first baseman, Connor. And the count 1-1 on Shishatti. Here it is. Breaking ball just up and out. And the count goes 2-1. As the 2-1 is Shishatti. Waved on and missed. Shishatti hitting .310 this season in 14 games. Has played in 14 of the 16 games Ithaca's played this season. As he digs back into the right side. After O'Neal takes a deep breath, looks in, gives the nod, sets. With runners on the corners and 1 out. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. It's a breaking ball, nubbed right back up the middle. It's the shortstop. Inciano onto second for 1, onto first, not in time. Fabo comes home on the RBI fielder's choice by Shishatti. Tacks another on the scoreboard, 8-2, Bombers lead here in the top of the second, and Ryan Lobsher will step up. With 2 outs, Shishatti on first, pickoff attempt over at first to check on him because Shishatti's got wheels. 4 for 4 on stolen base attempts this season. Lobsher with the RBI single back up the middle in his first at-bat. As the first pitch, breaking ball outside. Shishatti off on the pitch, and the throw from the catcher, Donnellan, will trickle into center field. The errant throw will put Shishatti 90 feet away here with 2 outs on the E2. On top of the stolen base for the 5th of the year for Shishatti. And a 1-0 count on Lobsher. Here's the pitch. It's a fastball up and away. Makes it 2-0. As O'Neal sets, kicks, and fires 2-0. And the fastball is topped foul just behind home plate. And it goes 2-1. Lobsher with the 2-homer game. In the first game of this series yesterday, 4 RBIs. Both of them were 2-run bombs. The second of which came off of the southpaw. As the 2-1 is fouled back behind home plate, out of play. And a hot start to this series for Lobsher. Had an RBI single in the 9th inning of game 2 of the series, game 1 of this doubleheader as well. As O'Neal 1 pitch away from getting out of it. Here's the 2-2. outside for ball 3. The count goes full on Lobsher. With Feeney, who had the 3-run homer, awaiting in the on-deck circle. O'Neill with a runner on third. 2 outs, 3-2 pitch. Breaking ball low and in, ball 4. This third walk allowed so far by O'Neill, and Colin Feeney will step up with runners on the corners. The exact same situation that he had last time when he clocked one out to deep right field for the 3-run bomb, and it looks like that will be all she wrote for Brendan O'Neill. Fourth-year head coach Kenny Collins will take the ball from the southpaw, and a new pitcher coming in from the right field bullpen to face Feeney. With runners on first and third and 2 outs, an 8-2 lead for Ithaca when we come back on Bomber Sports. Joshua Palumbo is the new pitcher on the mound for St. Lawrence, taking over for Brendan O'Neill. With runners on the corners and 2 outs, Ithaca on top 8-2 here in the top of the second inning. Palumbo, the right-handed sophomore from Williamstown, Massachusetts, 6'3", 185. Pitching 5 innings over 5 appearances this season as Colin Feeney in from the left side takes a called strike at the bottom of the zone. Feeney with the 3-run bomb in the first inning, which at the time gave the Bombers a 5-0 lead. They've already scored 3 runs in this inning with runners on the corners and 2 outs. Here's the 0-1, and it's looped foul behind home plate. Off the netting, and the count goes 0-2. Palumbo pitched in Game 1 of this series yesterday, going 1 inning with 2 strikeouts and a walk. Aside from that, zeros in the outing out of the bullpen in the 7th inning, as the 0-2 is chopped to the shores to the third baseman is Jardins, who throws across the diamond, not in time. Bobbled it, and Feeney with blazing speed, so Shishadi comes home from third base. And another run in the inning, the 4th of the inning for Ithaca, and that'll bring up Riley Brody, the 9th batter to come to the plate for Ithaca. In from the left side, Feeney on first, Lobsher on second. Here's the first pitch. Breaking ball in the dirt, blocked by Dinellen on the backhand to keep it in front.
Palumbo behind the count this time, 1-0.
And Ithaca, with 5 hits in the inning, including 4 straight to start the inning. As this one to Brody is roped deep down the right field line and foul. To the right of the foul pole, over the bullpen and the batting cages down the right field line here at Fay Field. And a 1-1 count. 6 total hits on the day for Ithaca, 9 runs across, helped by a couple of St. Lawrence errors. As the 1-1. This one, Sky, left side of the infield, shallow left field now. The shortstop, Enciano, goes out. The left fielder, Brinker, can't make the play. He was settled under it. Lobsher scores, giving the stop sign at third. Feeney in at second base is Brody, and the inning extends. A 10-2 lead for Ithaca. Lobsher scores the 5th run of the inning. And back to Ethan Rothstein, who got the party started with a leadoff double. And that is the 3rd error, the 2nd of the inning for St. Lawrence, as Rothstein in from the right side. Brody on second base, feeding off at third. Here's the first pitch. It's a fastball outside to go 1-0. Brinker was under it. Desjardins and Ciano, the shortstop and third baseman respectively, were both backtracking into the outfield. Brinker called them both off. Wind blowing sharp right to left as the 1-0 is skied right side of the infield foul ground. First baseman Connor under it in foul territory tracks this one down to retire the side. Not before 5 runs come across for Ithaca on 4 hits in the inning. 10-2, Bombers lead here on Bomber Sports. Daniel Verastro leads it off in the bottom of the second here for St. Lawrence. Saints trail 10-2, and it has been all Bombers offense to this point. 10 runs on 6 hits. They've been helped by 3 errors from the St. Lawrence defense. As Collier back on to work, Verastro, the 7-hitter's first pitch, is swung on and missed on the fastball on the inside part of the zone. As the 0-1 from Collier, another swing and a miss makes it 0-2 just like that. Collier walked a pair in the first, allowing 2 runs to come across on only 1 hit as a swing and a miss from Verastro. On the fastball on the inner third, goes down swinging. That's the first strikeout for Collier. 1 out here in the bottom of the second. An 8-run lead for Ithaca, and a healthy lead at the back of Collier to work with. That will bring up John Dinellen. The catcher for the Saints as the first pitch is sharply grounded to shortstop. Backhanded by Rothstein. Long throw across the diamond. The stretch from Lobsher. And in time for out number 2. A pair of quick outs on the 6-3 and the front-facing K. That brings up Mike Ciano, the freshman shortstop, in for the first time today. Went 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts and a walk in game 1 of the doubleheader. As the first pitch out of the hand of Collier, fastball up and away.
From going 1, 2, 3 in the home half of the third. He starts up in the count 1-0.
Collier, who has been a piece of a Ithaca rotation that has been tremendous as a called strike at the bottom of the zone, but also a little bit of a pleasant surprise as the 1-1. Breaking ball called a strike at the top of the zone. That's because you lose your one last year in Kyle Lambert, the All-American. You lose all Liberty League pick Garrett Bell, your 2, as the 1-2. Fastball upstairs. Collier got a couple midweek starts. Lehner got some as well, a few Sunday starts as well. As the 2-2 with 2 outs. Breaking ball grounded sharply to the left side of the infield. On a hop, the shortstop Rothstein picks it up, throws across the diamond. A 1-2-3 inning in the bottom of the second for Jack Collier. 10-2, Bombers lead. We head to the top of the third here on Bomber Sports. Joshua Palumbo back out onto the rubber to work for St. Lawrence. The Bombers with a 10-2 lead here in the top of the third inning. 5 runs in the first and second inning for IC as the leadoff man Ethan McDonough steps in from the right side against the right-hander Palumbo. And it has been all Bombers offense to this point. As Palumbo kicks and deals, here's the first pitch to McDonough. It's a fastball in there for a called strike on the low outside corner. 2 hits, 3 walks, 1 error allowed, 5 runs to come across in the first, where 8 batters came to the plate. As the 0-1 out of the hand of Palumbo. Breaking ball is roped out to deep left field, sending Brinker back towards the warning track that'll bounce off the base of the wall. McDonough stands up at second base with a leadoff double here on the top of the third inning. Pimped that one a little bit through the bat towards the first base side. It bounced off the base of the wall just to the right of the 331 sign down the line. And a leadoff double puts another runner in scoring position for Ithaca. That's the 7th hit of the day for the Bombers offense. Comes in leadoff fashion here in the third as Louis Fabo will step up. He's been hit by a pitch. Also has a single to his name. Here in Game 3 of the 3-game set between St. Lawrence and Ithaca. First pitch, a fastball up and away. It was then 4 hits in addition to 2 errors in the second inning, which allowed 5 runs to come across. So St. Lawrence's defense hasn't helped themselves with 3 errors as the 1-0 to Fabo is sky high on the infield. Foul ground to the left of the third base bag. Desjardins, the third baseman, under it. Just in front of the Bomber dugout in the grass in front of the warning track. He makes the play for out number 1. So 1 out And a runner on second base for Matt Curtis,
Have one out and a guy on second.
who's 1 for 2 here in the series finale. Singled in the second after a fielder's choice in the first after game 1 of this doubleheader where he was 2 for 5 with an RBI. Here's the first pitch to the right-handed hitter. It's fouled back out of play over the fencing behind home plate, over the press box, and 0-1 on Curtis, who had a strong season last year as a freshman. 13 starts, 24 total games, hit .383. And this season, he's been the primary starter at the DH slot for Ithaca. As the 0-1, breaking ball in the dirt, blocked by Dinellin to keep McDonough at second base. Can play third base and first base. Got a good amount of reps at first base last year, rotating in for Ryan Lobsher towards the middle of the season when he had a cold streak. As the 1-1, breaking ball low and away, count goes 2-1. Was named the Liberty League Rookie of the Week twice. Was named to the National Division III Baseball Team of the Week once last year. Hit 4 homers over a 2-week span. And he's followed it up with a tremendous sophomore campaign. Here's the 2-1, breaking ball. Called a strike on the outer third to go 2-2. In his 16th game today for Ithaca, hitting .364 to start off the season with the team lead 20 RBIs for the Bombers. As Palumbo comes set, peeks on McDonough at second, comes home 2-2. Wave and a miss on the breaking ball on the outside part of the plate. That's strike 3. Curtis goes down swinging. That's out number 2. And the first strikeout in relief for Palumbo. 2 outs for the catcher, Ethan DiDabo. And the cleanup man, who's 0 for 1 with a walk. With McDonough on second. And a 10-2 lead for Ithaca. Here's the first pitch. It's a fastball inside. After 5 runs across in the first and the second for the Bombers. Looking to keep that offensive spark here in the top of the third. Here's the 1-0 to DiDabo. It's an off-speed, dropped in there, scraping the outer third. And the count goes 1-1. DiDabo got starts in the first 3 conference games behind the plate for Ithaca, winning a starting catching battle against 2 Division I transfers on the Ithaca roster. Here's the 1-1. It's a fastball inside. Count goes 2-1. Tyler Puglisi transferring after 2 years at Division I UAlbany. And Logan Scully transferring from Division I George Mason. They all fought for the starting catcher job, but the sophomore DiDabo won it as the 2-1 breaking ball upstairs makes it 3-1. After DiDabo had a pretty strong freshman year last year, rotating in, getting a little bit of reps, but Gil Murad was the catcher for 4 years over his time at Ithaca. He transferred to RIT for his grad year and opened up that starting catcher spot. As the 3-1 pitch runs inside, that's ball 4. Just below the elbow, that's the second free pass to DiDabo on the day. And the inning extends. Runners on first and second with 2 outs for Ithaca. Brings up Colin Shishati, the 5-hitter. With McDonough off of second, DiDabo off of first. With 2 outs, first pitch is grounded sharply to the shortstop, Siana, who goes the easy way to second base to retire the side. No runs across, 1 hit in the inning. It's 10-2, Bombers lead as we head to the bottom of the third on Bomber Sports. Jack Collier back on to work here in the bottom of the third inning. A 10-2 lead for Ithaca after 5 spots in the first and the second inning. Jackson Brinker, the leadoff man, steps up into the right-handed batter's box for St. Lawrence. Led off the game with a single as the first pitch, a fastball outside. That single representing at the moment the only hit for the Saints. Collier's walked a pair, but has been dominant aside from that. As the 1-0, fastball called a strike on the low outside corner.
Found itself in the zone to even up the count at 1 apiece.
Brinker, the junior from Weston, Massachusetts, grounds the 1-1 into the 6-hole. Rothstein with a long throw across first base. Jeter style, leaping in shallow left field. But 5 steps ahead of the throw was Brinker with an infield single. He's 2 for 2 in this game, and a leadoff single here in the third. That will bring up Federico, the 2-hitter in the St. Lawrence lineup. First pitch is skied out to deep center field, sending Feeney back a few steps, treks under it in front of the warning track, and settles under it for out number 1. And that will bring up Timothy Connor, the 3-hitter who walked in, scored his last time to the plate. Connor, the senior first baseman for the Saints, up with a runner on first and 1 out, in from the left side. The junior from Chelmsford, Massachusetts. First pitch is just low and away on the off speed, out of the hand of Collier. Who's got 1 strikeout and is yet to allow an earned run. Pickoff attempt over at first, and back with a dive head first is Brinker. After the error by McDonough pushed a pair of runs home in the first, so still zeros in the ER line for Collier as a wave and a miss at the 1-0 fastball. Count goes 1-1. St. Lawrence looking to battle back here in the bottom of the third. A 10-2 lead for Ithaca. As a pickoff attempt again back over at first. Close play, but just ahead of the throw is Brinker. As Collier gives the nod. Comes set, takes a peek over at first, and comes home 1-1. And a fastball away. Mentioning as well, Collier last season, who made 12 appearances and 6 starts, went 4-2. Having to work his way into this rotation as a fly ball foul down the left field line over top of the Bomber dugout, out of play. You had 2 of the best pitchers in the conference in Garrett Bell and Kyle Lambert both graduate. Collier kind of knew the role he was going to have to step up to. Had a few great midweek starts last season and shuffles into the number 2 spot in the rotation. Jack Picozzi, who got the start yesterday for Ithaca, into the 3 spot as the 2-2 is driven down the left field line, hooking foul towards the foul pole, and that is just left of the pole beyond the Bomber bullpen, and foul. Kind of roped that one, but just to the left of the foul pole, a long strike in 2-2. And the Bombers lucked out by having a freshman become their Sunday guy in the rotation. I guess now your Saturday afternoon guy with the Liberty League schedule getting switched up this year. As the 2-2 fastball upstairs. Now it's a single game on Friday and a doubleheader on Saturday. Opposed to typically in the Liberty League, it's been a doubleheader Saturday, a single game Sunday. As with 1 out and a runner on first, the 3-2 fastball upstairs, and that's ball 4 to Connor. A full pitch walk to Timothy Connor. That's the 3rd walk allowed today by Collier, and runners on first and second with 1 out for John Gannon. Gannon walked in the first inning. The leading power hitter on the St. Lawrence team is a breaking ball low. Makes the count 1-0. Picozzi, by the way, had a pretty solid start yesterday, going 5 1/3 innings with 6 strikeouts. Did allow 6 runs. With runners on first and third, Collier rocks and fires. 1-0 fastball runs inside, just misses the hands of Gannon. Count goes 2-0. And the reason Picozzi got the Friday start and your typical 1-2 in the rotation, Collier and Lehner get the starts on Saturday, is because Ithaca played their first conference doubleheader on Tuesday. There's the 2-0. Fastball called a strike, grooved in on the outer third. Ithaca was supposed to play against Clarkson last Friday and Saturday at Freeman Field at Ithaca, but snow postponed those games. Then it was supposed to be Saturday, Sunday, Sunday, Monday, Monday, Tuesday. As the 2-1 is a called strike on the inside corner. So a lot of postponements last weekend. Ithaca didn't play a game for 10 days after their spring break trip. They were finally able to get the games in once the snow had cleared. They played on Cornell University's turf field across town, Hoy Field. I guess it's now Booth Field, actually, as the 2-2 is fouled back behind the plate. Freshly named, freshly changed Booth Field, but the point is the Bombers had to move their entire series back. They were only able to get 2 games in against Clarkson, and they sent their 1 and 2, Collier and Lehner, on the mound in those 2 games. 2-2. Breaking ball skied into right center field. That'll split the outfielders. Getting the wave around third is Brinker. Relay goes into second base. It's an RBI single off the bat of John Gannon to tack on another for the Saints and cut the deficit 10-3 as Connor moves up to third. And runners on the corners, 1 out for Max Cloutier. For Gannon, that's his team-leading 18th RBI of the season. He's been on base both times today. As Cloutier will step up. Connor off of third, Gannon off of first. As Collier sets, runners on the corners. Here's the first pitch. It's a fastball grooved in there for a called strike at the top of the zone. And the count goes 0-1 on Cloutier, the second baseman. Hitting .359 entering today. As the 0-1 pitch from Collier. Breaking ball just low. 2 homers and 7 RBIs this year for Cloutier. From Cumberland, Maine, as the 1-1 fastball upstairs. Evens it at 1. Comes to the North Country to continue his collegiate career. As Collier sets, runners on the corners, 1 out. Here's the 2-1. Fastball, high fly ball on the infield. It's just to the right of home plate and in foul territory where Didabo makes the play just up the foul line and makes a nice play on that little loopy fly ball, throwing off the mask for out number 2. So runners on the corners for Sean Desjardins and 2 outs. In a 10-3 game, Bombers on top as the first pitch is a wave and a miss at a fastball. Bombers took game 1 of this series yesterday, 14-8. Took game 1 of this doubleheader and game 2 of this series, 7-3 earlier today. Ithaca going for the sweep here in the finale as the 0-1 is grounded left side of the infield where it's backhanded by Rothstein. Has to turn around. He's got no throw. It's an infield single for Desjardins. Give him an RBI as well. as Connor scores. Just nudged in the 6-hole. Rothstein had to backhand it, had to pump the brakes and was going to stop and fire it across the diamond, but the speed of Desjardins, he was there by the time Rothstein even looked over, and Gannon was on second base as well. So a 10-4 game. Bombers still on top. Runners on first and second for Daniel Verastro. First pitch is up and away. And still feels like Collier, aside from the single from Gannon, which was roped into right field, zero hard contact. Both Brinker's hits were infield hits. And Desjardins with the RBI infield single there. There's the 1-0 fastball upstairs. With Gannon off of second base, Desjardins off of first. And a good sign for Desjardins as well with the RBI single after he struggled here in game one. 2-0 is blooped shallow on the infield, and it's the second baseman McDonough who charges and picks it up on the fly ball behind the second base bag for out number 3. Side retired, but not before. 2 runs come across on 3 hits here in the third inning for St. Lawrence. Bombers lead 10-4. We head to the fourth here on Bomber Sports. Top of the fourth inning, 6-7-8 due up for Ithaca, starting off with Ryan Lobsher against a new pitcher. It's David Zulsdorf, the southpaw from Canton, New York, and the freshman at 5'10", 170, facing Lobsher. Here comes the first pitch, and this one is fouled down the right field line over the St. Lawrence bullpen, out of play. Zulsdorf, who attended Hugh C. Williams High School, pitching in his 5th collegiate game. He's thrown 7 innings, allowing 9 earned runs with 7 strikeouts. Last pitch against Rochester on the 26th of March is the fastball outside. Makes the count 1-1 on Lobsher. And that obviously means the day is done for Joshua Palumbo, who came in a tough situation in the in the second inning, I should say, as Lobsher grounds this one through the 6-hole for a base hit. His second hit of the day, and a leadoff single here in the 4th for Lobsher. 8th total hit for Ithaca. Lobsher's been on base all 3 times to the plate here in game 2. But Palumbo went 1 1/3, allowing only one hit, no earned runs with one strikeout and one walk. As Colin Feeney, who had the 3-run bomb in the first inning, which gave the Bombers a 5-0 lead, steps up, skies the first pitch into shallow left field. Brinker, the left fielder, ranging in, I should say, and to his right towards the foul line. Tracks it down, has to run a long way, but makes the play for out number 1. And that will bring up Riley Brody, who's 0 for 2, reached on an error in the second. As Zolsdorf sets, peers over to Lobsher, comes home first pitch, and it's a breaking ball called a strike on the low outside corner. Brody hitting 8th here in the series finale. Ithaca looking for the sweep, up 10-4 in the top of the 4th. As the 0-1. Breaking ball sky high to shallow left. The left fielder Brinker in, the shortstop Ciano out. And the left fielder Brinker calls him off in the green grass for out number 2. And that'll bring up the 9-hitter in Ethan Rothstein. Rothstein from Demarest, New Jersey, the senior, who had a tremendous season last year where he was first team All-Liberty League, second team All-Region, hitting .354 with a .992 OPS as the first pitch is grounded to first base. The first baseman, Connor, can't come up with it, back getting it behind the bag, and Rothstein will go all the way to third base. Probably goes as an error in the scorebook, would be the 4th of the day for the Saints. On a sharp ground ball to Connor behind the first base bag. Had to backhand. It was a tough play, but it scoots into shallow right field. And that puts Rothstein on first. Runners on the corners for the top of the order, Ethan McDonough. First pitch to McDonough is grooved in there for a called strike. And it'll be in E3 on Connor, which allows Rothstein to reach for the second time today. As the 0-1, fastball called a strike on the inside corner. Bombers had 4 errors in game 1. They were able to come away with the win, but some struggles on defense. And now it's St. Lawrence, who's got 4 errors. Still for the Bombers, only 2 of the runs they've allowed have been earned. As the 0-2, fastball outside. McDonough, 2 for 3, RBI single in the second, and a leadoff double in the third. Off the base of the wall in left field. Zolsdorf's 1-2 is skied foul down the right field line out of play. Over the bullpen. And the count stays 1-2 here. McDonough from Southington, Connecticut. The senior who's played some outfield, played some infield. There's the 1-2 upstairs. Gets the start at second base in both ends of this doubleheader after he came in as a pinch hitter for Lucas Orlovitz, who got the start at third yesterday in game 1 of the series. 2-2 pitch. Fastball upstairs, count goes full. And that will give Rothstein an early jump from first base. Runners on the corners. 2 outs. Rothstein off first. Lobsher off at third. And a throw over to first base. Back in standing Rothstein. No tag applied by the first baseman Connor. With 2 outs and runners on the corners. The 3-2 pitch, fastball upstairs for ball 4. And Zolsdorf allows his first walk and loads the bases for Louis Fabo. Fabo singled in the second, scored after being hit by a pitch in the first. He's been relatively quiet today. He's 1 for 7 between these 2 games, the doubleheader. As Zolsdorf will call out his catcher, Janellen, for a mound visit And we're talking about Fabo, a guy that enters today hitting .350 on the season with 2 homers and 17 RBIs, including a 2-run homer yesterday. Also talking about a guy in Fabo who was All-Region and All-Liberty League last year, leading the conference in hits with 74. First pitch he sees. Called a strike on the low outside corner. And Louis Fabo has been so killer in the Bombers lineup these past 3 seasons that right now a .350 batting average is his worst career single season average, as the 0-1 is skied foul down the right field line out of play. He is a .378 career hitter in 125 games on the South Hill. Hit .398 last year. And down 0-2 in the count. With the bases loaded and 2 outs. Here's the 0-2. Breaking ball in the dirt. And that skips away from the catcher. Donnellan goes all the way to the backstop. Lobsher scores without a throw. Moving up to second base is Rothstein. Moving up to third is McDonough. So Lobsher scores an 11-4 lead for Ithaca. And Fabo still up with runners on second and third. Zolsdorf, the 1-2 fastball just upstairs, evens it up at 2 after Lobsher, who singled to start off the inning, comes in to score on the wild pitch. An unearned run for Zolsdorf. As with 2 outs, the 2-2. Breaking ball, wave and a miss for strike 3. The elevated slider, Fabo swings through it to end the inning, but not before 1 run comes across on 1 error, 1 hit in the inning. 11-3, Bombers, 11-4, Bombers lead as we head to the bottom of the 4th on Bomber Sports. Jack Collier's day is done on the mound for Ithaca. He goes 3 innings in his 5th start of the year, allowing 4 runs on 4 hits. 2 of them were earned with 1 strikeout, and it will be the freshman taking over on the mound, Danny Drodos from the Bronx, New York. It's 6'3", 210, and the southpaw toes the slab. He'll face a pinch hitter to start us off in the 8th spot here in the bottom of the 4th. An 11-4 lead for Ithaca as the first pitch from the lefty is low to Jack Finnegan, the freshman from Milton, Massachusetts, pinch hitting for the catcher John Dinellen as the 1-0 pitch out of Drodos, the southpaw's hand, as the fastball grooved in there for a called strike. Count goes 1-1. Drodos making his third appearance of the season. Made 2 on spring break as the 1-1 is skied down the right field line. Foul ground. Lobsher gives it a look, ranging towards the fence in front of the bullpen, and that will make it over the bullpen out of play. Count goes 1-2. 5 1/3 total innings over 2 appearances between Swarthmore and Oswego down in Lexington on the Bombers' spring break trip, and a 5.06 ERA between those 2 outings as the 1-2 fastball swung on and fouled off the catcher to Dabo and hits him on the lower body. He is in a lot of pain down behind home plate. Hits him in the lower body, and Dabo on all 4 at the moment after taking a tough foul ball off a not ideal spot. As the count will stay 1-2, athletic training staff as well as David Valicente taking the trip out to check on Dabo, the sophomore catcher for the Bombers. And Dabo will get up from his crouch after was on the ground for about a minute. He'll throw the left glove on, throw the helmet back on, and Dabo back into his crouch, back into the box. Finnegan as Drodos 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball, check swing. Yes, he did go around, says the home plate umpire. Ball in the dirt, blocked by Dabo. He completes the strikeout as he throws it on to first base where Lobsher steps on the bag. 1 out here in the 4th, 1 strikeout for Danny Drodos. In the first career appearance for Drodos down against Swarthmore on spring break, Bombers win. He threw 4 innings out of the bullpen, allowing 1 run on 2 hits with 3 strikeouts. Threw an inning and a third against Oswego. As a breaking ball inside makes it 1-0 on Mike Ciano, the freshman shortstop and the 9-hitter. 1 1/3 against Oswego, allowing 2 runs on 1 hit with 1 walk. As the fastball outside makes it 2-0. As here it is from Drodos. Fastball called a strike on the low outside corner. Ciano went 0 in game 1 of the doubleheader with a pair of strikeouts and a walk. Grounded out to shortstop his first time to the plate here in game 2 as the fastball low makes it 3-1. And we mentioned that the Bombers lost a lot of depth in terms of the starting pitching category this year as the 3-1 is nubbed foul on the right side of the infield. The Bombers also lost a lot of their bullpen from last year. You have the departure of Erzlandi Rivas, Landon White, as well as Matt Chase. As the 3-2 pitch is a fastball low for ball 4. It's a full pitch walk to Ciano. The 9-man reaches base for the first time today, and Jackson Brinker, who's 2 for 2 on the day, will step up with 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th, an 11-4 lead for Ithaca. Matt Chase actually transferred to RIT, where he's been their star pitcher to start off the season. Gil Murad as well, the starting catcher for the Bombers last year, transferring about an hour and a half up north of Ithaca on top of Hugo Lake. As the first pitch to Brinker is a called strike on the off-speed on the outer third. And Chase was a big piece of the bullpen last year. He's now the number 1 starter for RIT in his grad years, the 0-1. Check swing, ball in the dirt, did not go around, as Ciano will scurry up to second base on the ball in the dirt that got a few feet to the left of Dabo. So a runner on second base and 1 out and a 1-1 count on the leadoff man, Brinker. Also, Landon White, who transferred to the Division I level at Bryant. Got a few innings in the bullpen last year. Here's the 1-1. Breaking ball, check swing. Didn't go around. It's low. And the count goes 2-1. Bombers actually have 3 different players at the Division I level this season. Landon White went to Bryant. Garrett Bell's a grad transfer to Marist. And Nate Scott last year transferred to Fordham. As the 2-1. Fastball just low. Count goes 3-1. Taking advantage of that extra year of eligibility. After Bell starred all 4 years on the South Hill. Going to Marist. As the 3-1 pitch. Is a fastball just low on the 3-1 for ball 4. Back-to-back walks allowed by Drodos here in the bottom of the 4th. And Ethan Didabo will take a walk out to the mound to consult his freshman pitcher as some action will get stirring down the left field line in the Bomber bullpen. And Brett Federico will step up to the plate from the right side. He's 0 for 2, came across the score after reaching on a fielder's choice in the first inning. And he comes up with runners on first and second. Ciano off second, Brinker off of first. As the first pitch is just low, borderline pitch on the black at the bottom of the zone. As a righty now up and throwing down the left field line in the Ithaca pen. As Drodos sets and fires 1-0. Fastball called a strike on the outside corner. At the top of the zone, count goes 1-1. Drodos struck out the first batter he saw Finnegan, and then back-to-back walks. Looks to gather his control. Is now showing bunt, dropping it down the third base line. A beauty of a bunt from Federico, which goes right in between the third baseman, Brody, and the pitcher in Drodos. Just rolls to where the shortstop typically plays. A perfectly placed infield bunt, a bunt single, and that loads the bases for Timothy Connor. He's walked twice today. 5 total walks allowed by the Bombers pitching staff. And the bases loaded for Connor. St. Lawrence down 11-4 as the first pitch grooved in there for a called strike on the outside corner. Connor has scored twice today. He's hitting .333 overall this season with a homer and 9 RBIs. 0-1. Breaking ball in there for a called strike. Nicks the outside corner. 0-2. Drodos has put himself in a jam looking to pitch out of it here as he sets. 0-2. Breaking ball, check swing. Did not go around on the appeal down to the second base umpire on a slider that fell all the way to the left to the right-handed batter's box. 1-2. With the middle infield pinch towards the second base bag. Here's the 1-2. Breaking ball just upstairs. Another close pitch. And now it evens at 2. On the senior first baseman, Connor. 2-2 from Drodos. Bases juice. Grounded sharply down the right field line. Skipping over the first base bag and fair. 1 run across. 2 across. Getting the wave around third is Federico. Now the late stop sign. And it'll get held up there. But in at second base with a 2-run double. Timothy Connor cuts the deficit. 11-6. Now the score. And runners on second and third for St. Lawrence on the huge 1-out double down the right field line for Connor, which plates 2. And both of those runs that scored were the walks allowed by Drodos as John Gannon will step up to the plate. One of the biggest power hitters in the Liberty League. The first pitch he sees is roped out to deep right field, sending the right fielder Shishati back in front of the warning track. He tracked it down. Tagging from third and up without a throw is Federico. Advancing up to third base and tagging is Connor. And it's a sac fly for John Gannon to cut the deficit to 11-7. It's a 4-run game. And 2 outs and a runner on third base for Cloutier. So Cloutier, who's 0 for 2 on the day, with a runner 90 feet away. 3 runs across this inning for St. Lawrence is a breaking ball called strike on the inside corner. Out of the hand of Drodos, makes it 0-1. Cloutier, a .359 average entering today on the season with a pair of homers, takes another called strike. Same exact thing, the curveball that drops in on the inner third for a called strike, and it's 0-2. And Drodos 1 pitch away from getting out of this without any further damage. 0-2. Fastball just outside. And the count goes 1-2. He took a step back towards the third base dugout, thinking he had Cloutier rung up. Instead, it goes 1-2. Drodos, 1-2. Breaking ball, called strike 3 on the outside corner. 2 punch outs in the inning for Drodos, who gets out of it, but not before 3 runs come across on 2 hits in the inning, highlighted by the Timothy Connor 2-run double. 11-7 the score. Things getting interesting as we head to the top of the 5th here at Fate Field. Back in the top of the 5th inning, an 11-7 lead for Ithaca. What is now only a 3-run lead after, a 4-run lead after it was a 7-run game last inning. 3 more runs across for the Saints. First pitch breaking ball upstairs to the 3-hitter Matt Curtis, who leads it off at the top of the 5th. 3 runs across in the bottom of the 4th for St. Lawrence, highlighted by the 2-run double from Timothy Connor. The southpaw Zolsdorf back on to work. And the 1-0 called a strike at the bottom of the zone with the fastball. Curtis 1 for 3 with a single, which came in back in the second, where 5 runs came across for the Bombers, who lead 11-7. Zolsdorf rocks and delivers. Here's the 1-1, breaking ball up and away. Curtis has a hit in all but 1 game this season, currently with a 5-game hit streak. He's got hits in 16 of 17. As the fastball outside makes it 3-1. And talking about it earlier, but for Curtis, the sophomore, following up a strong freshman campaign, he's been huge at the top of the lineup as the 3-1 is roped in a right center field and down for a base hit. Making a 2-hit game for Matt Curtis. Another hit for Curtis, who extends his hit streak to 7 games. And over that span, a batting average over 500. As Ethan Didabo will dig in from the left side with Curtis off of first base and no outs here in the top of the 5th. Bombers looking to tack on some more insurance, up by 4. As the breaking ball just outside to Didabo, who's reached technically base all 3 times. A pair of walks and a fielder's choice. Came around to score in the first. And Didabo has been an on-base machine to start off the season. As the 1-0 called a strike with the fastball on the inside corner. Dabo with a .436 on base percentage. And he has walked 10 times to only 4 strikeouts this season as the 1-1. Slider called a strike at the bottom of the zone. And the count goes 1-2 to Dabo from Montclair, New Jersey. The starting catcher here in Game 2, the nightcap of this doubleheader between St. Lawrence and Ithaca, is the 1-2 breaking ball outside. Evens it up at 2. Dabo started the first 3 conference games after he performed very well to start off the season. As the 2-2 called strike 3 on the outside corner. Dropped in the breaking ball, low outside corner. Dabo gets rung up. That's the second strikeout in relief for Zolsdorf. And 1 out and a runner on first for Colin Shishadi here in the 5th. Shishadi, the right fielder, who's reached base twice today, had an RBI fielder's choice in the second. First pitch is Shishadi shows bunt. Is a breaking ball outside. Shishadi pulls back and lets it go in the left-handed batter's box for a ball. Makes it 1-0 with Curtis off of first base. He's 0 for 1 on stolen base attempts this season as the 1-0 fastball called a strike. That's the outside corner. It goes 1-1 on Shishadi. Last year's Liberty League leader among qualified candidates in on-base percentage. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Fastball called a strike at the bottom of the zone, and it goes 1-2. Shishadi hit .489 last season, the single-season record for a qualified batter in Bombers history. Over 36 games, including 18 starts. As the 1-2 is skied foul down the right field line over the St. Lawrence bullpen and out of play. In action, still warming down the left field line in the Bomber bullpen. We'll see if Drodos goes back onto work for his second inning after allowing 3 runs in the bottom of the 4th. As Zolsdorf kicks and fires, breaking ball inside on the 1-2 to even it up. Shishadi, who was on the Cortland Regional All-Tournament team after the Bombers swept through the Cortland Regional on their way to Supers in Beverly, Massachusetts. 2-2. Fastball outside. Count goes full. Shishadi had a hit in all 5 NCAA playoff games. 2 against Cortland in the Cortland Regional, then the 2 against Endicott as well in Supers. As the 3-2 is a fastball inside for ball 4. Shishadi on base for the 3rd time today. Second time via the walk. Runners on first and second, and 1 out for Ryan Lobsher. Up with runners on first and second. Here's the first pitch, and it's nubbed foul behind his own plate. Lobsher, who had the 2-run single in the first, which got the scoring started for Ithaca. He's 2 for 2 on the day with 2 runs scored. RBIs the last 3 games after a 4 RBI game yesterday with 2 homers in Game 1 of this series. Here comes the 0-1 to Lobsher, and this one is skied way out to deep center field, sending Federico back now in front of the warning track. Takes a step in and settles under it for out number 2. Not deep enough for Curtis to tag, and a long fly out to dead center field, deepest part of the ballpark for Lobsher. Out number 2 to bring up Colin Feeney. Feeney, who had that 3-run nuke out to right field in the first. At the time, gave the Bombers a 5-0 lead for Feeney's first homer of the year, 3rd of his career, after he had 2 blasts last year. Up with runners on first and second, 2 outs. And the first pitch, a called strike with the fastball on the outside corner to go 0-1. Feeney, who's now got himself an 8-game hit streak. 0-1. Breaking ball, chopped to the second baseman, Cloutier, who goes to second base. Not in time. Shishadi with the speed. And he just beat out a ground ball just behind the second base bag. It was a little bit of a chopper to Cloutier, and he just flipped it to the shortstop, Ciano. Looked relatively routine, but the speed of Shishadi, obviously Cloutier doesn't flip that ball to second base if he knows Shishadi's already there. And the bases are juiced for Riley Brody. First pitch, breaking ball, called a strike on the inside corner. Would have been a tough play at first, too, with the speed of Feeney. And you got Feeney and Shishadi on the base paths, the two fastest players in the Bombers' order. As the 0-1 to Brody with the bases juiced is rolled right side of the infield. It's going to be the first baseman, Connor. Close play at first, and it's an errant throw intended for the pitcher, Zolsdorf. That'll go all the way into the St. Lawrence dugout. One run comes across. Curtis Shishadi scores, and 2 runs score on the error. Ground ball to the first baseman, Connor, and the errant throw to the pitcher, Zolsdorf, covering. That goes all the way towards the on-deck circle. And allows 2 runs to score. A mental error that goes to the fielder's choice. And then the E3, as a fastball called, strike on the outside corner, makes it a 13-7 game. Runners on second and third still. With Feeney off of third, Brody off of second. Here's the 0-1 to Rothstein, and this one is laced through the 6-hole in a left field, and that's down for a base hit. 1 run scores. That cannot be handled by Brinker in left field. He bobbles it, so scoring is Brody as well, and up at second base is Ethan Rothstein. Brings home 2 runs on what likely will go as a single and an error. We'll see how that'll go in the scorebook. But 3 either mental or literal errors to the final 3 batters have allowed 4 runs to come across in the inning. And that'll bring Ethan McDonough, the 8th batter of the plate to the 8th batter of the inning, to the plate, I should say, as Eamon Andre, the assistant coach for St. Lawrence, will come out to the mound after 4 runs across in the inning, and a 15-7 lead now for the Bombers. And it will indeed go as a single to left field for Rothstein. Gets the 2 RBIs, neither of which are earned runs on Zolsdorf, by the way, after the errors. But he advances to second base on the error, as Zolsdorf back towing the rubber after the mound visit with the assistant coach, Andre. First pitch in there for a called strike on the outer third against the leadoff hitter, Ethan McDonough, who's 2 for 3 on the day with an RBI. As the 0-1 pitch, breaking ball is skied out to right field, taking a few steps in. Verastro under it in shallow right to retire the side, but not before 4 runs have come across for the Bombers on 2 hits. None of the runs that come in are earned. It's 15-7. Ithaca still leads as we head to the bottom of the 5th on Bomber Sports. Danny Droto's day is done in relief. A new pitcher for the Bombers on the mound. It's John Griffin, the senior right-hander from Dolan, Connecticut, who will take the ball. Griffin at 6 foot 150, and the righty so far this season has pitched in 7 total games out of the bullpen, 1-0. Over 10 innings, he's allowed 9 runs, 13 strikeouts, but 7 walks for Griffin. And he will face 6, 7, 8 in the St. Lawrence lineup, starting with Sean Desjardins, who had an RBI singles last time to the plate. He's 1 for 2. 15-7 the score here in the bottom of the 5th inning from Tom Fay Field in Canton, New York. As the first pitch is blasted out to deep right field, sending Shashani back towards the warning track at the wall. He collides with the wall, and the ball is off the wall. Rounding second on his way to third, and in there standing up with a leadoff triple off the right field wall is Sean Desjardins. But right now the focus is Shashani in deep right field, who is down on his knees. He ran full force into the fence, and that will bring the Bombers athletic trainer and head coach David Valicente out just to the left of the 321 in deep right field. And Shashani clearly shaken up. Appears to be standing up now, stretching out his upper body. But we will step aside for a moment after the leadoff triple as Shashani collided with the wall in deep right field. Colin Shashani will stay in this game after running full force into the right field wall, tracking down a fly ball that bounced off the top of the wall. A leadoff triple for Sean Desjardins, and we will have a pinch hitter here for St. Lawrence. 15-7 the score. Bombers on top. First pitch, a fastball low and away. Daniel Bradshaw is the pinch hitter, coming in for Daniel Verastro's spot in the 7th spot in the St. Lawrence lineup. As the 1-0 is chopped left side of the infield, and it cannot be fielded on the chopper by the third baseman Brody as he was charging the weakly hit ground ball. Scoring is Desjardins from third, and that'll be an RBI infield single for Daniel Bradshaw. And that will bring Finnegan up to the plate. Came in as a pinch hitter in the 4th and struck out as a first pitch swing and a miss. He hit for John Donnellan and took his spot behind the plate as well for St. Lawrence, as Griffin sets and delivers. First pitch, or the 0-1 I should say, is a breaking ball in there for a call strike to make it 0-2 after back-to-back hits to start off the inning. The triple by Desjardins off the right field wall, and the RBI infield single from Bradshaw. As the 0-2 from Griffin. Fastball low in the dirt. Count goes 1-2. Finnegan this season 6 for 8 with 2 RBIs and a double in limited pinch hit opportunities. Made his presence known as the 1-2 breaking ball. Nub left side of the infield. Rothstein on to second for 1. On to first, no throw for McDonough. As good speed for Finnegan reaches on the fielder's choice. Bradshaw out at second. And out number 1 here in the bottom of the 5th inning 15-8, Saints cutting the deficit on the RBI infield single from Bradshaw as Mike Ciano, the freshman shortstop, will dig in. Finnegan, solid speed off first as we saw, beating out the fielder's choice to prevent being doubled up as the first pitch from Griffin is a called strike. It's also really tough to double someone up on this infield grass at St. Lawrence where the ball dies. And we've seen some tough hops as a pickoff attempt over at first. Back with a dive is Finnegan, because we mentioned it earlier, but the temperatures here in the mid-30s to start off this game, the infield was frozen solid as the 0-1 runner off on the pitch. Throw down to second base from Didabo, not even a throw. Finnegan there by the time Didabo was ready to release it and fire it down to the second base bag. Finnegan already up with his first stolen base of the season. 45 degrees right now, but was as low as 30 this morning. With a runner on second base, Griffin comes home 1-1 with one out, and it's a fastball in the dirt to Ciano. In the left-handed batter's box, count goes 2-1. Griffin with 25 career appearances for the Bombers, 16 last year, was solid out of the bullpen, went 2-0 with a 4.76 ERA. As the 2-1, a fastball low and away. And 3-1. No action down the left field line in the Bomber bullpen quite yet. Griffin, the third pitcher of the day after Collier only went 3. As Griffin sets, takes a peek at second base, and comes home to 3-1. Fastball called a strike on the low outside corner. Gets one back, it's 3-2. Bombers leading 15-8 here in the bottom of the fifth. Already one run across for St. Lawrence. 3-2, runner on second, one out, fastball low and away. That's ball 4. So that puts up runners on first and second. Ciano on first, Bradshaw on second. For the top of the order in Jackson Brinker. He's reached base all 3 times today. A pair of singles, a walk, 2 runs scored. Both singles, by the way, infield singles where it was all speed for Brinker, who's also got a pair of stolen bases on the season. Down by 7 runs are the Saints with runners on first and second and one out. Here's Griffin's first pitch to Brinker. It's called a strike at the top of the zone, and the count goes 0-1. Bombers looking for the series sweep and win number 5 to start off conference play with a perfect 5-0 record. Here's Griffin's 0-1 pitch, and it's a breaking ball called a strike at the top of the zone to go 0-2. As Griffin gives the nod to the catcher, Didabo, and sets at the belt. The long pause, peers over to second, a look at first, and comes home with the 0-2. Runners off on the pitch. Throw down at third base is no throw. It's just a pump fake from Didabo. A double steal executed to perfection by the combination of Bradshaw and Ciano. And that puts 2 runners in scoring position as it was a breaking ball low and away. And the count goes 1-2. With one out, runners on second and third. Here's the 1-2. Fastball swing and a miss for strike 3. Brinker goes down swinging with the high electricity fastball at the top of the zone from Griffin. And that's out number 2 to bring up Brett Federico. Looking to take advantage of the opportunity with 2 runners in scoring position. As Griffin peers in, gives the nod and sets. Federico 1 for 3 on the day with a single and a pair of runs scored. First pitch is fouled back towards the would-be on-deck circle of the Bombers on the third base side. Count goes 0-1. With Ciano off a second, Bradshaw off a third, and 2 outs. Griffin looking to escape the jam without any further damage after Sean Desjardins tripled and scored to start off the inning. As here comes Griffin's 0-1. It's a breaking ball low and away, blocked by Didabo in the box to keep the runners where they stand. As Griffin now sets and winds and deals. 1-1 breaking ball called for strike 2. Not strike 3, as the home plate umpire with an emphatic strike 3 call. It's just strike 2. Count goes 1-2. And the 2 umpires, the home plate umpire and the second base ump that switched in game 2, are cracking up about that one, because the second base umpire did the same thing in game 1. As the 1-2 pitch. Fastball, wave and a miss for strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts for John Griffin to escape the jam with runners on second and third and 1 out. 15-8, Bombers lead as we head to the top of the 6th on Bomber Sports. Back in the top of the 6th inning, a new pitcher on the mound for St. Lawrence and a new batter in the batter's box for Ithaca. Pinch hitting for Louis Fambo in the 2 spot. It's Colin Dunn as a breaking ball inside makes the count 2-2. The new pitcher on the mound for St. Lawrence is John Igo. Pitching his third game of the season, a 6.75 ERA in 2 2/3 innings of work. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball, swing and a miss for strike 3. Dunn goes down swinging, and one batter faced, one strikeout in relief for Igo. And that will bring up the DH, Matt Curtis, who's 2 for 4 on the day with a pair of singles and a run scored. Takes a breaking ball low. Count goes 1-0. Curtis, after his 2 for 5 game in game 1 of the doubleheader, as this one is clocked way out to deep left field, back towards the scoreboard, ranging in front of the warning track and tracking it down is Brinker. In deep left field, Curtis got a whole lot of that one, but not enough. A great play by Brinker to make that play just in front of the scoreboard, right on the dirt warning track where it begins for out number 2. And that'll bring up Ethan Dudabo, who's walked twice, grounded into a fielder's choice, and struck out on the day. As the first pitch, fastball runs inside and goes all the way to the backstop, just missing the feet of Dudabo. Igo, the 4th pitcher used by Kenny Collins here in game 2. As the 1-0, breaking ball low and in. O'Neill with 1 2/3, Palumbo with 1 1/3. Zolsdorf goes 2 innings, allows 0 earned runs, but 5 unearned runs. And Igo coming in now, 2 quick outs here in the top of the 6th. As the 2-0, fastball just upstairs. And a 3-0 count to Dudabo. We mentioned his plate discipline earlier as well. He leads in the count 3-0 after a pair of walks already today. As the 3-0 up and away, rather clips the up and away corner for a called strike to make it 3-1. Dudabo didn't love that call after, actually, Igo didn't love the prior one, as the breaking ball is just outside for ball 4. That one missed. And Dudabo with his third walk of the day, and a 2-out base runner for the Bombers, which will bring up Colin Shishati, who stayed in this game after he ran at full speed into the right field wall, tracking down a fly ball by Desjardins, which bounced off the top of the wall for a triple. First pitch to Shishati, off speed upstairs, and he was shaken up. Athletic trainer and David Valicente had to go out and check on him. Was down on the ground for about a minute, or on his knees, before getting up and taking a moment to compose himself, as the 1-0 called strike on the outside corner. Looked to be all right. Stays in the game and looks to add some insurance for the Bombers, who lead 15-8 here in the top of the 6th. With the Dabo off of first, here comes the 1-2 pitch, breaking ball upstairs. And it slips out of the hand of Igo. 2-1. He sets, the righty fires, breaking ball inside, and that's off the backside of Colin Shishati. Hit him on the quad, and runners on first and second with 2 outs. A pair of free passes on the walk and the hit by pitch. That brings up Ryan Lobsher. Igo, the junior right-hander from North Attleboro, Massachusetts, at 6'3", 175. Pitching in his 3rd game of the season, as Lobsher digs in from the right side with runners on first and second and 2 outs. First pitch, breaking ball, check swing. Yes, he did go around on the appeal down to the second base umpire on the check swing from Lobsher on the curveball in the dirt. Lobsher already with a pair of hits after a pair of homers yesterday in game 1 of this series. Here's the 0-1. Breaking ball in the dirt, checks his swing again, and this time did not go around. And the count 1-1 on Lobster, the Simsbury, Connecticut native. As here comes the 1-1 from Igo. It's tapped foul into the Bomber dugout on the third base side. Count goes 1-2. No fences in front of the dugout, so that ball just rolling in, and everybody fighting for who's going to make the play in the dugout. On the Bomber side is the 1-2 pitch, is an off-speed inside and off the hands of Lobster. It's a hit by pitch. Back-to-back hit batsman, 3 straight free passes, a walk and 2 hit by pitches. All coming after 2 quick outs when Igo enter this ball game. And the bases are juiced for Colin Feeney, who roped a single in right field to lead off the 4th. And then also had the 3-run bomb in the 1st. Igo peers in. Gives the nod and sets with the bases loaded. Feeney in the left-handed batter's box. First pitch, off-speed, low and in. Feeney, who gave the Bombers the 5-0 lead with his 3-run jack in the 1st. Part of a 5-run inning for Ithaca. Here's the 1-0. And this one is cranked way out to deep center, sending Federico back in front of the warning track. He dives and cannot make the play. It bounces just in front of the 401 sign in dead center. 1 run across, 2 across. Lobster taps on home plate. And that's a 3-run bases clearing triple for Colin Feeney, who's got 6 RBIs on the day, standing up with a celebration at third base, and 18-8, a double-digit lead for the Bombers. And the wheels all coming off here with 2 outs. As the first pitch to Brody bounces in the dirt. I said it, 2 quick outs from Igo on the strikeout and then the fly ball to left. And then a walk and a pair of hit by pitches, the second of which came on a 1-2 count, is the 1-0 to Brody, called a strike on the outside corner. And then Feeney with the triple to dead center. Federico looked like he was under it, then took a step in and dove for it. And it just fell. Not sure if he got a glove on it, but also battling the sun, which is currently over the first base dugout, peering towards the outfield. As the 2-1, called a strike on the outside corner. So 2-2 with 2 outs. And Feeney 90 feet away. As Igo fires home the 2-2. And this one is roped through the right side of the infield. Rather, snagged by Connor on a dive at first base. Diving to snag that ball before going into right field. Throws it to the pitcher, Igo, to end the inning. 1 runner stranded, but 3 runs come across in the inning on the 3-run triple off the bat of Colin Feeney. As we will head to the top of the 7th, 18-8, Bombers lead here on Bomber Sports. Bombers on top, 18-8, back in the bottom of the 6th inning. Timothy Connor, the 3 batter, leads it off for St. Lawrence. John Griffin, the right-hander, back on to work. As Griffin winds and deals the first pitch to the left-handed hitter, is a called strike at the bottom of the zone. 3 more runs across for the Bombers in the top of the frame on a 3-run triple off the bat of Colin Feeney, who's now got 6 RBIs today. That's a career high for the junior center fielder. The 0-1 breaking ball in the dirt evens it up at 1. Here in Canton, New York, finishing off the 3-game series between the Bombers and the Saints, an 18-8 lead for Ithaca, looking for the sweep. As Griffin peers in, gives the nod, and at the belt he winds and fires 1-1 low. Here in Canton, but back on the South Hill, a lot of big sporting events going on today, perhaps the biggest of which was men's lacrosse for Ithaca playing number 2 RPI, fastball low, and a huge test for Ithaca for first-year head coach in Tommy Pierce, and they hung with the number 2 team in the nation, a 10-9 loss and a heartbreaker for Ithaca. As the 3-1 out of the hand of Griffin is a fastball low for ball 4, so Connor has been on base all 4 times today. It's his 3rd time reaching via the walk, and John Gannon will step up. Ithaca softball also swept Geneseo at Geneseo, taking the 2 games by a total of 20-0, and the Bombers softball team has had a great start to the season. Women's lacrosse taking place right now at Higgins Stadium, back on campus, as Gannon in from the right side. And the first pitch, breaking ball in there for a called strike. And across town, obviously the big story in Ithaca has been the men's hockey team for Cornell, as the 0-1 fastball, which skips away. Playing in the NCAA tournament. After beating Maine in the first round, they'll continue their schedule this weekend in Springfield, Mass. As the 1-1 pitch from Griffin is a fastball low for ball 2, and the count goes 2-1 on Gannon, who's 1 for 1, also has a sac fly and a single in this game. As Griffin with the long pause, the 2-1, and the fastball is roped in a shallow right. That'll drop in front of Shishati for a base hit. Moving up to second base, Connor, and the second hit of the day for John Gannon. And that'll bring David Valicente out to the mound for a mound visit. The 4th-year head coach of the Bombers, who took over for his dad before the 2020 season, which actually ended up not being ideal timing. Obviously, there was no 2020 season. So Valicente was hired after his dad, who coached 41 seasons at Ithaca, one of the greatest head coaches in college baseball history, posted a winning percentage over .650 in his career. He retires after 41 seasons. Valicente hired in August 2019. 2020, there's no season. 2021 only got 29 games. You get a shortened schedule. So it's his 5th year, but really only his 3rd full season as the head coach of the Bombers. And obviously those prior 2 have been pretty successful, as Ithaca has made Super Regionals the last 2 seasons. Last year they were 2 wins away from the College World Series. In 2021, they were 1 win away from the College World Series in Super Regionals, falling last year to Endicott, fell to Catholic in 2022, and Valicente retreats back to the dugout as Griffin settles in with Cloutier in the right-handed batter's box. First pitch outside for ball 1. Count goes 1-0 with Connor off of second, Gannon off of first. Griffin sets at the belt. And the 1-0 pitch. Fastball called a strike on the low outside corner. Cloutier 0 for 3. Struck out his last time to the plate, which came in the third inning. The final batter that Jack Collier faced. As the 1-1 pitch from Griffin is skied into deep right field. Taking a step back, now a step in, and to his left is Shishadi. He makes the catch, fires it into the cutoff man. And not deep enough for the man on second, that's Connor, to tag. And out number 1 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Bombers on top by 10, 18-8 the score. Here in the series finale between Ithaca and St. Lawrence. Bombers with a 2-0 lead in the series, looking for the sweep. They've already taken the series. As Desjardins dug in. Digs in, I should say. He's got hits in his last 2 at-bats, highlighted by the triple in the 5th on what I believe was the first pitch thrown by Griffin. Off the right field wall, came around to score on the Bradshaw RBI single. He's 2 for 3. As he takes one for a called strike at the top of the zone, count goes 0-1. Griffin looks to win the battle this time. Runners on first and second, 1 out. Here's the 0-1. Breaking ball, skied foul, right side. Lobsher gives it a look in front of the St. Lawrence dugout. That'll make it over top of the dugout and out of play. Count goes 0-2 on Desjardins, who entered today hitting .206 with 6 RBIs. But a 2 for 3 game here in Game 2. And that comes after the Golden Sombrero in Game 1. He went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. And has gotten his revenge against the Bombers pitching staff here in Game 2. As the 0-2. Fastball, check swing, fastball top of the zone. Did he go around? Yes, he did, says the second base umpire for strike 3. And that's strikeout number 3 for Griffin in relief. Over an inning and 2/3 now of work. And as Desjardins down on strikes for the first time today, that brings up Daniel Bradshaw with runners on first and second and 2 outs.
He's got 2 outs with Dan Bradshaw coming to the plate.
As Griffin sets, Bradshaw in the right-handed batter's box. First pitch, called strike on the low outside corner. Griffin looking to be a big piece out of the bullpen for this Ithaca team this season, who's relying on a lot of underclassmen. We saw Connor Burns in Game 1. Didn't even come into college as a pitcher. And he's getting a chunk of the workload so far as the 0-1. And the breaking ball skied high into shallow center. Couple of steps in, couple to the right for Feedy, who tracks it down. 2 runners stranded on base after a walk and a single to start off this inning. Nobody left. As 18-8 the score, Ithaca leads. We head to the top of the 7th on Bomber Sports. Back in the top of the 7th inning from New York's North Country, 18-8, Bombers lead. And Ethan Rothstein leading it off in the top of the 7th. The 9-hitter for the Bombers, 2 for 4 on the day. He will see a new arm on the mound. It's Jared Brenner, the 6'6" right-hander from Waltham, Massachusetts. Toes the slab for St. Lawrence, the 6th pitcher used today by Kenny Collins in Game 2 of this doubleheader. Game 3 of the 3-game set between the Bombers and the Saints. Ithaca looking for the sweep. Up by 10 runs as Rothstein digs in to the right-handed batter's box, and the righty Brenner kicks and fires. First pitch low and away for ball 1, and the count goes 1-0. Brenner had 2 strong outings to start off this season against Brockport and Amherst. 3 total innings between those 2 outings, as the fastball upstairs makes it 2-0. Didn't allow a run between those 2 outings on the 16th and 19th of March. And then on Monday against Rochester, had some struggles as the 2-0 just outside. It goes 3-0 as Brenner posted an infinity ERA against Rochester. Couldn't get in out, allowing 5 runs on 3 hits and a pair of walks. As the 3-0 to Rothstein in there for a called strike with the fastball. Clips the inside corner, count goes 3-1. So obviously an inflated ERA due to that single outing against Rochester, but throughout his career he's been strong for St. Lawrence. As the 3-1 fastball over the heart of the plate gets rocketed right back up the middle for a base hit in a center field for Rothstein. That's his 3rd hit of the day and a leadoff single here in the top of the 7th. Bombers looking to add to their 18-8 lead, and the top of the order in Ethan McDonough will step up to the plate. Brenner was strong in relief last year, pitching in 4 games, posting a 4.91 ERA for the Saints. As the first pitch is a called strike on the inside corner to the right-handed hitting McDonough, who's 2 for 4 on the day with an RBI single and a run scored, which came in the 2nd inning, where 5 runs came across for Ithaca. As the 0-1, fastball low and away, with Rothstein on first base, who's got solid speed. He's 3 for 3 on stolen base attempts this season. Bombers looking for their 5th straight win to open up conference play. As the 1-1 pitch, breaking ball off the back of McDonough. Slipped out of the hand of Brenner. Takes it right between the 1 and the 8. And puts runners on first and second for the Bombers. And the 2 spot in the order in Colin Dunn, who came in as a pinch hitter back in the 6th inning for Louis Fabo. Dunn struck out on 5 pitches against Igo. And he digs in from the right side with runners on first and second and no outs here for the Bombers. Here comes the first pitch to Dunn. It's a breaking ball low and away to make it 1-0. Dunn this season for Ithaca has appeared in 9 different games, primarily as a late inning pinch runner or defensive replacement. As Brenner's 1-0 is a breaking ball called a strike at the top of the zone. Dunn, when he has gotten at bats, though, has hit well. 3 for 10 with 4 runs scored and 3 RBIs. All which came over spring break on the Bombers' trip to Lexington. As the 1-1 pitch is a fastball upstairs. Bombers went 5-2, playing 7 games in 7 days, and obviously you can get your starters some rest and see some young guns like the sophomore Dunn, who played pretty well in his opportunities against Swarthmore and Endicott on spring break. As the 2-1 is a breaking ball that slips out of the hand of Brenner. This one behind the back of Dunn, almost hit him. The catcher, Denellen, has to jump to keep that ball from going to the backstop. Just over top of the back of Dunn, and the count goes 3-1. As Brenner sets runners on first and second with no outs, here comes the 3-1 pitch. It's a fastball in there for a called strike, catches the outer third. And the count goes full here on Dunn, who's got a whole lot of speed. He's got a pair of stolen bases on this season. As the big righty Brenner sets, Peers over to second. That's where Rothstein stands. Comes home with the payoff. And that's just outside. A borderline pitch with the fastball. Call goes in favor of the Bombers just off the plate. And the bases are juiced. Back-to-back free passes after McDonough was hit by a pitch. Now Dunn walks. And the bases are juiced. And it looks like we will have a pinch hitter here for Ithaca. Matt Curtis finishes his day 2 for 5. And stepping up to pinch hit for the Bombers will be Nicholas Kataya, getting his first at-bats of the season for Ithaca. Kataya, who's gotten some pretty big at-bats over the past couple of seasons, will get his first here, as it will be a mound visit for Eamon Andre, the assistant coach and pitching coach on the St. Lawrence side. Brings in the entirety of his infield, as well as the catcher, Janellen. Breaks the huddle, sends his position players back to their respective positions. Andre returns to the first base dugout, and Kataya will dig in from the right side with the bases loaded. Quite a spot for your first at-bat. Bombers up 18-8 here as the first pitch is roped into right field, and that's down for a base hit. Scoring easily is Rothstein. Getting the stop sign at third base is McDonough. So it's an RBI single for Kataya in his first at-bat of the season. And Bombers tack on another 19-8 here in the top of the 7th. On Kataya's first at-bat of the season for the junior from Mount Kisco after he hit 220 and 41 at-bats in 15 games last year. Gets a base knock, and that brings up Ethan Didabo in from the left side with the bases juiced still. He takes a first pitch called strike on the outside corner. With Kataya on first, Dunn off a second, McDonough off a third. Brenner looking to tame the bats of the Bombers, which have been red hot. 0-1 pitch, skied foul down the left field line over the Bomber bullpen and out of play. Count goes 0-2. On the Montclair, New Jersey native Didabo, who's caught a very solid game behind the plate as well for Ithaca. High baseball IQ behind the dish for David Valicente's squad, as the 0-2 pitch from Brenner is a fastball in the dirt, smothered by Dinellen to keep that ball in front and keep the runners at their respective bases. Count goes 1-2 on Didabo. As Brenner takes a deep breath, now sets. With the brown glove at the belt. Comes home 1-2, swing and a miss at the elevated fastball. At the top of the zone, Didabo down on strikes. And out number one. A much needed first out of this inning. And it will be a pinch hitter again for Ithaca. It'll be Luca Papilla, who's appeared in 5 games as a pinch hitter this season. He's 1 for 5. First pitch. Breaking ball, nub left side of the infield. Charging it is the shortstop, Ciano. Tough throw on a first, just in time. 1 run comes across as McDonough taps on home plate. Second run across in the inning. Very nice play by the shortstop, Ciano, charging that ball. Makes an off-balance throw, and that's out number 1. Out number 2, excuse me. And the score now 20-8 Ithaca, as we'll have a pinch hitter for Ryan Lobsher here. It's Camden Laney in from the left side, who's been fun to watch this season. First pitch. Fastball low and away. Camden Laney got his first start against Elmira and fell a homer shy of the cycle a couple of weeks ago before the spring break trip and out-of-conference battle. A freshman from Decatur, Georgia. As the 1-0 pitch is a fastball outside. Laney started the nightcap versus Clarkson for his first in-conference start. He went 1 for 4 with an RBI single. When he's been in the lineup, he's had a big-time impact. 318 over 4 starts as the fastball low makes it 3-0 on Laney. The left-handed hitting first baseman, who's got 5 RBIs in 22 at-bats this season and 4 runs scored. with a high stance in the lefty box, takes the fastball away and a 4-pitch walk to Laney.
And that's going to be a 4-pitch walk to the pinch hitter Laney.
And that will reload the bases. And now Coach Kenny Collins will take the stroll out to the mound. Still no signal to the bullpen yet, but one would assume this is it for Brenner. Takes the ball from the right-hander, now signals to the bullpen, and that will do it for Brenner. Bases still loaded, 2 runs already across in the inning. It's a 20-8 Ithaca lead here in the top of the 7th when we return on Bomber Sports. The new pitcher for St. Lawrence is the right-handed sophomore Noah Spalding from Crown Point, New York, making his second collegiate appearance. Made his first 2 weeks ago on spring break for St. Lawrence down in Florida against Knox Prairie, where he went 1 shutout inning with 2 strikeouts. As Finnegan, the catcher, will go out for a mound meeting to talk things over before Colin Feeney digs in with the bases juiced. With Camden Laney on first, he was a pinch hitter. Katai on second, another pinch hitter. Pipia on third, he was a pinch hitter, but Colin Feeney remains in this game. First pitch he sees is a breaking ball inside, blocked by Finnegan to prevent that ball from going to the backstop. And Colin Feeney, who has 6 RBIs on the day, a career high. He's got a triple and a homer, both plating 3 runs. As the 1-0 to Feeney is roped out to deep right field, sending Verastro back towards the warning track. That'll one-hop the wall. 1 run scores, another across. Getting the stop sign at third is Laney. Colin Feeney with a 2-run double. He's got 8 RBIs on the day. It's a 22-8 lead for Ithaca. And Feeney is a single shy of the cycle at the moment. And that brings up Riley Brody as a breaking ball low. So Dunn, Didabo, and Pipia all come around to score. There's the 1-0. This one is laced way out to deep right field, sending Verastro back in front of the warning track. He sticks the glove out to end the inning. 9 batters come to the plate in the top of the 7th. 4 runs across, highlighted by the 2 RBI double from Colin Feeney, who's got himself 8 RBIs on the day. 22-8 Ithaca leads as we head to the bottom of the 7th on Bomber Sports. John Griffin back on for his third inning of relief for Ithaca, who leads 22-8. That's right, 30 total runs scored in this ball game, and it's been all Bombers offense. The 22 runs on 14 hits, highlighted by an 8 RBI day from Colin Feeney, who's a single shy of this cycle, as Griffin on the mound in the right-handed batter's box. It is Finnegan, who came in as a pinch hitter for John Dinellid. He's 0 for 2 since coming in as a pinch hitter. Fouls the first pitch on the third base side of the infield beyond the coach's box and foul. Count goes 0-1. As the 0-1 is a breaking ball low and away to Finnegan. As the 1-1 is low and outside. And the count goes 2-1. Finnegan doing the catching from Milton, Massachusetts. The freshman takes a fastball called strike on the outside part of the zone. Finnegan at 5'8", 160, a utility guy who catches but also plays a whole lot of positions on the outfield. As the 2-2 is roped down the right field line, foul. Finnegan played baseball and football at Milton High School, where he was the team captain for both teams, was a conference player of the year in football, and a 4-time All-Star in baseball. As the 2-2 pitch is looped foul down the right field line and out of play. Off of Griffin, who's back on for his third inning of work. Only the third pitcher used by the Bombers. So far, only 1 run allowed, 3 hits, and 3 strikeouts for Griffin. As the 2-2, and the fastball upstairs and inside has to duck out of the way, and that'll be off the face mask of the home plate umpire. Count goes full. Colin Feeney has led the charge in this game for the Bombers. He's got 8 RBIs on a 3-run triple, a 3-run homer, and a 2-run double. As Griffin at the belt. Long pause. Here's the 3-2. And it's a fastball called strike 3 on the outer third. Finnegan gets punched out looking. And that's the 4th strikeout in relief for Griffin. 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th. And it looks like we'll have a pinch hitter. It'll be Owen Morrissey. First pitch fastball inside. Morrissey has appeared in 7 games. He's 4 for 5 at the plate with 2 runs scored and an RBI. As the 1-0 to Morrissey is taken for a called strike over the heart of the plate. Morrissey, the sophomore from Concord, Massachusetts, came in as a defensive replacement late in yesterday's game and fouls the 1-1 behind home plate over the netting. And it goes 1-2. As Griffin set to deliver the 1-2. Check swing at the top of the zone. Did he go around? Yes, he did on the appeal down to second base as the Bombers throw it around the horn. 2 straight strikeouts. And 5 on the day in relief for John Griffin, as that'll bring us to the top of the order in Jackson Brinker. Bombers pitching has been on point throughout the course of this series. 11 strikeouts yesterday, highlighted by 6 from Jack Picozzi in 4 1/3, as Griffin's first pitch is a breaking ball upstairs. And then in game 1 today, Colin Lehner's dominant outing, 12 strikeouts in 7 innings, 14 total strikeouts on the day, as Connor Burns had 2 in the 9th. As the 1-0 is nubbed into shallow center, going out as the second baseman in McDonough, and he tracks it down to retire the side and end this ball game. 22-8, the win for the Bombers. They take the series with the series sweep and a 22-8 win in game number 3 to round it out. 5 straight wins for Ithaca, 5-0 in conference play, 13-4 on the season as St. Lawrence drops their 4th straight. They drop to 1-5 in conference play and 6-10 overall on the season. A big weekend in Canton, New York for David Valacente's squad to round out the 3-game set. 22-8 your final in game 3 after a 7-3 win for Ithaca in game 2 after a 14-8 win in game 1. So offense on full display for Ithaca in this game, highlighted by, as we mentioned, Colin Feeney, who finishes his day with 8 RBIs. Also, a 2 RBI game for Lobsher and Rothstein. And getting the win on the mound is Jack Collier, who goes through 3 innings to start off this game. John Griffin goes 3 innings with 1 run, 3 hits, and 5 strikeouts in the final 3 innings of relief to cap off this day at the Yard. Bombers get the sweep, and a huge sweep in series number 2 of the Liberty League season. That'll wrap things up from Canton, New York, saying so long and thank you for tuning in throughout the course of today's broadcast. I'm Eli Fishman saying so long. Bombers will be back in action on Tuesday for a game currently scheduled at 4 p.m. at Freeman Field against St. John Fisher. So we will see you then on Bombers Sports before a home series against RIT next weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to everyone at the athletic communications staffs at St. Lawrence, as well as Justin Lutz and the entire athletic communications department at Ithaca College. I've been Eli Fishman. Have a great rest of your Saturday night and a great rest of your weekend.